It's time again for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the show covering fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation and destinations right here in the region you live and play in. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Max Lure Company, makers of the world-famous wedding ring spinner, by Loophole, America's Optics Authority, and by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Northwestern Outdoors is also sponsored by Wallowa County in Northeast Oregon, where you'll find both nature and fun. By Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing, offering you the affordable Canadian fishing trip of a lifetime. And by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. So grab your fishing rod or hunting gear, load up the boat or lace up your boots, and let's head outdoors with your host, John Cruz.
If you're a saltwater salmon angler, especially one who fishes the waters of Puget Sound, you've got good cause to be depressed this year. Chinook numbers are down, with 165,000 fish expected to return to the Sound. Forecasts for coho in Puget Sound this summer are for 265,000 fish, about a third less than last year. And coho returns on the Columbia River are also down about 50%, with 380,000 fish expected to fin their way up the mighty Columbia. You may be wondering if there is anywhere to go for decent saltwater salmon fishing this year. If that's the case, I've got good news for you. Chinook runs are at an all-time high at one place here in the Northwest. You just need to go north of the border to get there. Chad Calder, owner of Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing out of Port Hardy, BC, has got the skinny on the great salmon fishing developing off the coast of Vancouver Island this summer. Not only that, but Chad is going to join us for a conversation about how to catch these salmon, and the tactics he recommends are likely to work south of the Canadian border too. Sticking with salmon, guide Austin Mosier joins us for an extended Max Minute to tell you about the upcoming May-June spring Chinook fishery available on the Icicle River near Leavenworth, Washington. This is a unique fishery in a beautiful setting, and better still, you can grab a brat and a beer in the Bavarian-themed town of Leavenworth after you get off the water. Want something besides salmon? Okay, how about Dorado, also known as dolphin fish or mahi-mahi in some parts of the world? We've been invited to cover the first annual Villa del Palmar Resort Dorado and Golf Fishing Tournament in Laredo, Mexico between June 29th and July 2nd. Fishing, golf, sunshine, luxury, good eats, good drink, and fun. Jared Martinez, the coordinator of the event, will tell you more about it, and you know what? There's still room for you, too, if you want to join in on this. We've got a bunch of outdoor news reports for you this week, covering everything from poachers to environmental vandals on the bad side of things to good stuff like a chance to catch tag trout next weekend in Washington State for prizes and an opportunity to put your kids in an Idaho summer camp they won't soon forget. But before we get any further into the show, David Sparks has a scoop on a high-tech way to get rid of invasive plant species to help improve sage grouse habitat here in the West. It's all part of Sportsman Spotlight, brought to you every week by Chad's Coastwide Sports Fishing, your ticket to an affordable, all-inclusive saltwater fishing vacation this summer out of Port Hardy, BC. Find out more at coastwidesportsfishing.com.
Eradicating conifers in order to enhance wildlife habitat. David Sparks, Sportsman Spotlight. Dave Noggle is a professor of large-scale wildlife ecology at the University of Montana. He and various agency partners, including fish and wildlife agencies throughout the West, have used a Google Earth engine to build a new interactive online map tool that for the first time combines layers of data to better target invasive species that are damaging wildlife habitat, including that of the sage grouse.
Since 2010, when sage grouse were listed as a candidate species by the Fish and Wildlife Service, in 2010, 6 days later, the chief of the NRCS launched the Sage Grouse Initiative as a voluntary approach to reducing threats that can be a detriment to sage grouse and ranching throughout the West. And so I've been working on Sage Grouse Initiative with NRCS and all of our Western partners since 2010.
But Fish and Game has been very involved as well.
The state fish and game departments are a huge asset in the West. They've been big proponents. They provide all kinds of information to our partners in the West, and we couldn't do it without them.
Since 2010, NRCS has partnered with ranchers to restore and protect more than 5 million acres of sage grouse habitat through the Sage Grouse Initiative. Who ultimately benefits? Us outdoorsmen.
A quality and affordable fishing adventure is waiting for you off Vancouver Island with Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing. Located in Port Hardy, British Columbia, you can drive or fly to your all-inclusive guided fishing vacation. Whether you're after big salmon, hard-fighting halibut, or a cooler full of red snapper and lingcod, you can catch it all here. Better yet, your lodging, meals, and fish processing are all taken care of. Want one more reason to go? The price. With the Canadian dollar exchange rate where it is right now, your U.S. dollar goes further. Space is limited, so go to coastwidesportsfishing.com to book your trip. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com for an incredible BC fishing adventure.
Leupold Gold Ring Optics are built to perform at the highest level, shot after shot, year after year. Our rifle scopes, binoculars, spotting scopes, rangefinders, and more always come through when you need them most. That's why our American-built products have a lifetime guarantee. Or as we like to say here at Leupold, they are guaranteed for a lifetime of performance, not a lifetime of replacement. Find out more about our top-quality gear and our lifetime guarantee at leupold.com. Leupold, America's optics authority.
Now, Max Lure Company is from the Northwest. We know that, but their lures and components help anglers catch fish all over North America. Now, whether you use the world-famous wedding ring spinner, the patent smile blade, or the new tackle like the Double D Dodger or the Sonic Baitfish, Max Lure Company makes what it takes for a successful day on the water. Look for Max Lure products at your local sporting goods store or online at maxlure.com. That's Max Lure Company, a legacy of innovation since 1969.
He said we're right on him. Without missing a beat, you'll drop your line down to 42 feet. If you don't screw up, it won't be long. Someone in this boat's gonna sing Fish On. Fish on, fish on. Do it by the book, don't take too long. Set the hook, reel it in strong. Fish on, fish on.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're talking salmon fishing now, and the guy we're talking about it with is Chad Calder. He is the owner of Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing, located at Port Hardy on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. Chad, welcome back to the show.
Oh, it's good to be back, John.
Chad, we've been getting, well, frankly, some pretty depressing news, especially in Puget Sound and Washington State, about Chinook and coho runs. How are things looking further north for the Chinook and coho? Do you have a good fishery this year?
Well, in all honesty, John, it's a little bit the opposite where we're at this year. In Canada here, they wait and give you your forecasts a little bit later than they do in the U.S., and our preliminary forecasts are for the west coast of Vancouver Island and north, so Port Hardy's at the north end of Vancouver Island, and we target all the runs that go down the west coast, and we target the runs that come down the inside of the island. And the west coast island hatchery returns combined are looking at a 10-year high of over 250,000 fish on the inside, and because we fish the west coast as well, they're looking at over 1 million Chinook are forecast for the northern Vancouver Island and southern Vancouver Island for June, July, and August. So some staggering numbers, and we were out fishing last weekend, and I can honestly say I haven't seen this amount of Chinook at this time of year in a long, long time.
Wow. What a story of feast and famine. I mean, down here in the lower 48, especially for all of our listeners that live in the Puget Sound area near Seattle and Everett and Olympia, it's just not looking good. But, geez, you're having a banner year up there. So now that we know that there's salmon up there, we know we want to go up there and we want to figure out how to catch these salmon. How do you go about it in terms of tackle and tactics out of Port Hardy, BC?
Yeah, John, our Chinook fishery and our silver fishery, so our king fishery and our silver fishery is predominantly a downrigger fishery with flashers, but not always. We run all kinds of spoons, plugs. We fish, most of our salmon is done in very shallow water, tight to the beach in the kelp beds on the rock. So unlike the west coast of Vancouver Island where you'd fish in more deep water, we fish in fairly shallow water, about 40 to 60 feet.
Oh, okay. Is that for both the coho and the Chinook that you're fishing that shallow?
That's correct. The only difference is when we're fishing for the Chinook, we're just a little bit tighter into the beach sometimes than the silvers. And then if we move offshore into some of the bait predominant areas where we see lots of bait more off the beach, that's where we'll find lots of our silvers.
You know, you talked about fishing spoons and using flashers. Any particular colors that work better than others for both the Chinook and the coho?
You know, it really depends on the water clarity where we are. It doesn't really matter so much about time of year, and we try to match the bait. So whether it's a herring fishery that we're fishing in or if it's a needlefish, lancefish fishery, which are a lot smaller, as long as we match the size, I find that the color is not as predominant. I mean, if in the darker water, we're finding the glow patterns are working a lot better.
Sure.
But it's usually about matching the size of bait.
You're listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Chad Calder. He's the owner of Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing out of Port Hardy, BC, about the great salmon fishing that's going to be going on all summer long there. So let's talk about something else here. Bait. Do you run cut plug herring or anything like that?
We do, John. So as stated a little bit, we do run almost exclusively an anchovy fishery. The reason we run the anchovy fishery, and once again, we'll run spoons as well, and even some hoochies and stuff like that, and the coho killers that a lot of people are starting to use. It really depends on trying to match the size of bait. And we find that the anchovy in the teaser head works really well for matching the size of bait that we're finding, tight to the beach at most of the times.
You know, Chad, this is interesting to me. I always associate anchovy as a bait that you use basically in Oregon and California. Do you even have anchovies up there off of Vancouver Island?
We do, but you're right, John. It's something that's a little bit different. We would normally find herring in our areas, but fishing the herring is just a different style. When we fish the anchovies, we find that we get a really nice tight roll, and fished in conjunction with the flasher, because of the speed with the downriggers, we find the anchovies just work way better.
Interesting stuff. So another question for you, since you're using anchovies, down here in Washington, Oregon, you talk to guides, they're always going to tell you about their favorite brine or their favorite scent, and they're putting on the bait. Are you doing that as well up there, or are you running them clean?
It depends on which one of my guides you fish with.
Interesting.
It is, yes. Some of the guys do like the scented stuff. Some of the guys, a few of them, love it for even all their bottom fishing. Me, in general, I don't rely on it as much sometimes, but so it's really kind of guide specific that way. And, I would find that if it's matching the color of the water and the bait size, I think that's more important than the actual scent itself or the color of the lure. I mean, I find in that darker, murkier water, those glow patterns just seem to work a little bit better, and even with the spoons as well.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go. Some great advice on how to catch salmon. That's going to work probably not only up there at Port Hardy, but down here as well for all of you saltwater anglers. One more question I've got to ask you, Chad. We're coming up quick on your season, which kicks off in early June and runs through September. Do you have any openings left?
Well, we have very few left. So one of our most favorite times to fish is June. We have a few dates left in June. One of the best parts about June is there's just a lot of kings around. They're not as big sometimes as you'd see maybe in July and August, but they're just prolific everywhere. And so we have a few really good June dates left. We have a very, very limited number of July and August dates left.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're coming up to fish with you in June, and I can't wait. And folks, I'm just going to give you the quick rundown here about fishing with Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing. It's an all-inclusive trip. You basically get yourself to Port Hardy. You're going to be put up in a really nice waterfront hotel. You exit your hotel in the morning. You just walk right down to the docks. You get on board a 25-foot Grady White, and off you go, trolling for salmon, then fishing for halibut and catching some bottom fish. You're back on the docks usually by 3 o'clock. You get a diner's card, get to eat at whatever you want. You get 6 different restaurant choices in Port Hardy to eat at, and all your fish are taken care of in terms of processing. It just promises to be a great time, and best of all, the exchange rate right now, it is very, very affordable if you're a U.S. citizen. Chad, let's go ahead and give folks the website so they can find out more.
It's www.coastwidesports, with an S on it, sportsfishing.com. So www.coastwidesportsfishing.com.
That's coastwidesportsfishing.com. Space is limited, but you still got time to take advantage of a banner salmon year off of Vancouver Island. Chad, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
You're welcome, John. It's always a pleasure.
Want to thank my mom and thank my crew. Especially want to thank all the little people too. Say fish on, fish on. Oh, hit him again. He's still kind of squirmy. Somebody call my taxidermy. Fish on,
That's the sound you hear when a fish hits the new Sonic Baitfish from Max Lure Company. This metal lure can be cast, trolled, or jigged and will catch just about anything that swims in the sea, the river, or the lake. The Sonic Baitfish has a unique vibration and flutter that can be rigged in 7 different ways. With all sorts of eye-catching colors and weights available, you'll be reaching for the Sonic Baitfish as your go-to lure. It's the Sonic Baitfish. Only from Max Lure Company.
Looking for the ultimate cooking machine for your backyard or patio? Look no further than Camp Chef's new pellet grill and smoker. With user-friendly features like an auto ignition, digital readouts, and internal meat temperature sensors, it's easy to smoke the tastiest salmon, ribs, brisket, and turkey you'll ever eat. And an innovative system makes cleanup a snap. Everyone will want the food you're cooking on your Camp Chef pellet grill and smoker. The quality smoker that's second to none. Find out more at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Want to earn a serious reward? You can, and all you need is a fishing rod. There's money to be made catching northern pike minnow. There's too many of them in the Columbia and Snake Rivers, and we'll pay you cash to catch them. Pike minnow eat our salmon and steelhead, and that's no good. The season starts May 1st, runs through September, and the more fish you catch, the more you earn. How much money can you make from this program? Well, last year, one angler earned a cool $100,000. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. That's pikeminnow.org. Go ahead, collect your reward.
You're back with more of the great outdoors on Northwestern Outdoors Radio with John Cruz.
It's time for another Max Minute.
Fish on!
Brought to you every week by Max Lure Company.
With us here again is Austin Mosier. He's a pro guide and the owner of Austin's Northwest Adventures. There's going to be a Chinook salmon fishery on the Icicle May-June time frame, and I understand you're going to be fishing it.
Yeah, it's going to be, it usually opens up about mid-May and runs till the end of June. And, you know, they might open the Wenatchee River up this year again. They have the last 2 years in a row. And when they do that, the fishing is outstanding.
What are you using to get those springers in the boat?
You know, I use a lot of eggs and smile blades, you know, with a pill float or a corky and a smile blade with a double hook setup. And I also use some herring set up so that they'll spin either cut plugged or rigged whole with a couple corkies and a smile blade in front of that. And that's been really effective.
So I'm guessing you're not fishing these eggs or, for that matter, the herring naked. You must be using brine or scent.
Yeah, I use a lot of ProCure products to dye my herring, and I add scents to it from ProCure. And ProCure has some great egg cures, some easy liquid cures that you can just put them in and cure them overnight.
One piece of advice you would give anglers fishing the Icicle or the Wenatchee to get a springer in the boat?
One tip that I could give you is to have a great net and good bait. You want to have nice fresh bait and sharp hooks, and that'll help you get fish in the boat every time.
Well, there you go. 3 tips there. Good net, good bait, sharp hooks. Find out more about fishing this, and if you want to go on a guided trip, get a hold of Austin Mosier. You can contact him at Austin's Northwest Adventures LLC.com.
That's Austin's Northwest Adventures LLC.com. And that wraps up this week's extended Max Minute from Max Lure Company.
Want to earn a serious reward? You can, and all you need is a fishing rod. There's money to be made catching northern pike minnow. There's too many of them in the Columbia and Snake Rivers, and we'll pay you cash to catch them. Pike minnow eat our salmon and steelhead, and that's no good. The season starts May 1st, runs through September, and the more fish you catch, the more you earn. How much money can you make from this program? Well, last year, one angler earned a cool $100,000. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. That's pikeminnow.org. Go ahead, collect your reward.
It doesn't matter what sort of adventure you're after, whether it's big game deep in the backcountry, a day of fishing out on the water, or an overnight in the great outdoors. At Sportsman's Warehouse, we've got the gear in here for what you need out there. Gear up for your next adventure at one of the Sportsman's Warehouse stores or shop online. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your camping equipment and fishing gear and head out to Northeast Oregon, where you'll find the views are endless, the air crisp and clean, and the water's cold and clear. Set up camp by the shores of Wallowa Lake or in the heart of the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. Take your fishing gear and cast your bait into the deep waters of Wallowa Lake, or roll your fly into one of the eddies of the many freestone creeks and rivers teeming with fish. This summer, take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio, and we are heading south of the border for some fishing and some golf and a chance to bring home some money to boot. It is the Via del Palmar's at the Islands of Laredo's first annual fishing and golf tournament. With us here to tell us more about it is the tournament coordinator, Jared Martinez. Jared, welcome to the show.
Hi, John.
Laredo is it's a fishing village, and it's a historic village, and it's getting a lot more visitorship. It's starting to get discovered. Beautiful place down there in Baja on the Sea of Cortez. Let's talk a little bit about the basics of this tournament.
Well, Laredo is well known as being the world capital of Dorado fishing. So that's why we are doing the tournament here. That's the main species to catch, which is the Dorado. And the basics are very simple. We have 3 days, 1 day of golf here at the resort. We went to our golf course, and 2 days of fishing here around the islands of Laredo. So it's kind of simple. The days of fishing will be on the 1st and 2nd of July, and the day of golf will be on the 20th and the 30th of June.
All right, so we basically are talking about two tournaments in one here. I mean, you can win both or you can win one or the other. So the golf tournament, is this an 18-hole course? Is it a new course?
It's a new course that we have in here. But the days of the tournament, we will have 12 holes. By the end of the year, we will have the 18.
So if you win the golf tournament, what do you get?
Okay, the prizes that we have. Well, there's a certificate for 5 days and 4 nights at the Via del Palmar Resort.
Oh, nice.
We have a second place for $500. And third place are some amenities like balls and clubs and all those things that golfers like.
Sure, absolutely. So let's turn our attention to what I'm excited about, and that's the fishing tournament. Dorado, known as mahi-mahi out in Hawaii. Great fighting fish, beautiful fish. You're going to be fishing for them for 2 days. What is the winning prize in this tournament?
$5,000, John.
Nice.
$5,000 for the first place.
Nice. Very nice. I like that a lot. So when it comes to the Dorado and the Sea of Cortez around the islands of Laredo, how big are they? How big do you think the winning fish is going to have a chance to win?
Well, we put on the rules of the tournament, the minimum weight has to be of 25 pounds. But that's like the normal way that we have around here when boats go fishing. But sometimes we have larger or bigger Dorados with a weight of 40 to 50 pounds. So those are kind of big fish.
Wow. Oh, that sounds like one heck of a bull there. So I got to ask on the Dorado, is it just the biggest fish wins, or the top 3 fish are the ones that win prizes?
Yes. The top 3 can win the first, second, and third place, but it depends on the weight of the fish.
All right. Well, this sounds fantastic. So next question for you. I'm assuming some people are going to be bringing their own boats. But if folks don't have a boat, can they go ahead and basically get a guide through the resort so they can participate in the tournament?
Yeah, people that are interested in to come here with their own boats, they can bring their boats to Mexico, or if they're in Mexico too, they can bring the boats to the tournament, and it doesn't matter. If they don't have boats and they're interested to come and participate into a tournament, we have arrangements with the local community of fishermen, with the unions that we have in Laredo, and we have several super pangas to be ready to our tournament to participate.
All right. Sounds fantastic there. So, again, you can bring your own boat, or you can go ahead and arrange for a guide through the resort. Either way, you can participate in the fishing tournament. Just need your clubs to participate in the golf tournament. And let's talk some more about the Dorado here. You know, I have not been lucky enough to fish for these fish before. How do you go about catching them? What's the preferred method?
Well, it's more about trolling, trolling around some certain points of here of Loreto. People will have to investigate, I believe. Because
I understand that.
There are lots of bills.
But are you basically trolling live bait? Are you trolling lures? How are you going about that?
It's with both. It's more with live bait. If you're trying with lures, can be done with purple lures or pinky and blue ones.
Sure.
So yeah, it's up to the fisherman, It's up to the angler how he's going to get it. But I have the recommendation that you have to have live bait on board, which is better and easier for the people to get the mahi or dorado, as you call.
Well, that makes perfect sense, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be paying for that live bait. So, next question. This is all taking place at a beautiful resort, the Villa del Palmar Resort. Tell our listeners a little bit about this place. I understand it's one of the top-rated resorts in Mexico.
Yeah, it's one of the tops here in Mexico. Several prizes for our services. We are in a unique area here at Loreto. We are in a place named Ensenada Blanca, which is 40 kilometers south to Loreto. It's like 25 minutes away. And we have a beautiful beach area in front the Danzante and Del Carmen Island, which are...
Let me ask you a question here, Jared. When it comes to this beachfront resort, I know if you go, south to Cabo San Lucas, there's a lot of places where you can't swim because of the currents and the tides. Can you swim here, and are other sports available too, like maybe renting a kayak or a paddleboard? Yeah, we have kayaks, we have boats, we have pedal boats, we have paddle boats, we have everything, and it's not dangerous at all. It's so different than Cabo, because Cabo is open water. It's open ocean. I mean, it's very rough, the waves and the currents that they have on the south on Cabo. But here is very calm. Water is like a big, enormous lake. Nice. So we have, it's kind of rough when we have the north winds, but right now it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's like a big lake. People can come, enjoy the ocean, enjoy the sea, everything. It's very, very beautiful. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to come down with some other outdoor riders in June and July to cover this event. This sounds just fabulous. Now, we're starting to
you like it.
Oh, I know I'm going to like it. There's no doubt about that. But we're starting to run short on time, so we better tell people how they can sign up for this tournament and for a stay at the Villa del Palmar Resort at the islands of Loreto. Well, they can enter to our main webpage, which is www.villalpalmarloreto.com. Okay. /Dorado 2016, and that's where all the basics of the tournaments are. And there's also my email, our reservations area email, and my direct number if they want to reach me directly. All right, so I'm going to repeat that a couple times for you folks. It's Villa, spelled V-I-L-L-A, Del, D-E-L, Palmar, P-A-L-M-A-R, Loreto, spelled L-O-R-E-T-O.com /Dorado 2016. Again, that's Villa del Palmar Loreto.com /Dorado 2016. One more, Villa del Palmar Loreto.com /Dorado 2016. And I've got a phone number for you too. So get out your pen. It's 1-800-790-4187. That's 1-800-790-4187. It's the first annual fishing and golf tournament taking place at the end of June, the beginning of July at the Villa del Palmar Resort at Loreto. Jared, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John.
Want to earn a serious reward? You can, and all you need is a fishing rod. There's money to be made catching northern pike minnow. There's too many of them in the Columbia and Snake Rivers, and we'll pay you cash to catch them. Pike minnow eat our salmon and steelhead, and that's no good. The season starts May 1st, runs through September, and the more fish you catch, the more you earn. How much money can you make from this program? Well, last year, one angler earned a cool $100,000. Find out more at pikeminnow.org. That's pikeminnow.org. Go ahead, collect your reward.
That's the sound you hear when a fish hits the new Sonic bait fish from Max Lure Company. This metal lure can be cast, trolled, or jigged and will catch just about anything that swims in the sea, the river, or the lake. The Sonic bait fish has a unique vibration and flutter that can be rigged in 7 different ways. With all sorts of eye-catching colors and weights available, you'll be reaching for the Sonic bait fish as your go-to lure. It's the Sonic bait fish. Only from Max Lure Company.
Looking for a quality fishing adventure that won't break the bank? Then head to Canada for an all-inclusive fishing vacation with Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing. Big salmon, halibut, snapper, and lingcod are waiting for you off Vancouver Island. But space is limited, so book now at coastwidesportsfishing.com. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio, and it's time for news and reports from the field. We start off shining a light on some bad actors affecting our hunting and fishing in the Northwest. Turns out a couple of poachers were caught after the brazen killing of bighorn sheep next to the interstate in north central Oregon. According to the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, it all happened on April 3rd. At 9:45 a.m. when troopers received a report of suspicious activity alongside Interstate 84 east of Biggs Junction. The person who called in said it appeared someone was gutting a big game animal and was concerned it was a bighorn sheep. Right to be concerned. The season on bighorn sheep doesn't take place till later this summer. It's very hard to draw a tag, and you sure as heck aren't going to be shooting them off the interstate. Fish and Wildlife troopers responded, located a vehicle in the area occupied by a man named Justin Samora, age 32, of Layton, Utah. While troopers were speaking with Samora, passing motorists stopped, said there was another man hiding in the brush just west of their location. Troopers started looking for this man and discovered 2 severed bighorn sheep heads. More troopers arrived to assist and soon enough found Cody Plagman, 28, of Troutdale, Oregon, hiding along the railroad tracks 2 miles east of the scene around 4 p.m. Putting things together, it turns out Plagman and Samora had worked together to shoot and remove the heads of the bighorn sheep. Both sheep were recovered, but were not able to be salvaged. Both subjects were jailed for multiple big game violations. According to Jeremy Thompson, district wildlife biologist in the Dalles, it's an outrage that someone would poach a bighorn sheep when hunters can wait their whole life and still never get the opportunity to hunt this iconic species. Hopefully, these two are going to get some serious time for this act. We've got more bad news in a similar vein out of Montana, where vandalism has destroyed perch spawning habitat at Tiber Reservoir. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is looking for information about 500 recycled Christmas trees burned March 27th to the 28th in 2 separate incidents at Tiber Reservoir north of Great Falls. The trees were set aside for spawning habitat for perch and were due to be put in the reservoir in mid-April. Every year, Walleyes Unlimited puts dumpsters around Great Falls to collect used Christmas trees. They are taken to Tiber Reservoir, where volunteers and Fish and Wildlife personnel put the trees in shallow water to provide spawning habitat for perch. According to Grant Greisack, a fisheries manager in the region, perch are an important forage component to the Tiber walleye fishery. Our studies have shown the perch use many of the trees for spawning. The vandalism took place on the north shore of Tiber on the Willow Creek Arm. If you have any information about this vandalism and these illegal burns, please call 1-800-TIP-MONT. That's 1-800-TIP-MONT. Informants can be confidential, and rewards of up to $1,000 are possible. Let's turn our attention to some good news. April 23rd is not only the day 600-some lowland lakes open for trout fishing in Washington State, but it also marks the start of the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife's first lowland lake fishing derby, which runs through September 6th. Several million fish have been stocked for this opener, and over 700 of them are tag fish. These tag fish are collectively worth over $20,000 in prizes donated by 130 different businesses. If you catch one of these fish between April 23rd and September 6th, simply call the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, give them your tag number, and find out what your prize is. These tag fish have been put into lakes in just about every county in the state. If you'd like a list of the lakes with these prize fish and details on how to claim your prizes, go to the Fish and Wildlife game site. It's wdfw.wa.gov/fishing/derby. That's wdfw.wa.gov/fishing/derby. Finally, are you looking for a summer camp your 10 to 12-year-old child will enjoy? Then imagine your kid on a week-long adventure where he or she learns to hunt, fish, and enjoy the great outdoors. Kids who want to learn outdoor skills, become certified in hunter and bow hunter education, and experience a wide variety of other fun outdoor activities can register for the Youth Conservation Camp taking place August 8th through the 12th at the Trinity Pines Camp and Conference Center in Cascade, Idaho. Campers participate in hands-on learning activities in firearm safety, shooting, wildlife conservation and identification, fishing techniques, archery fundamentals, an introduction to trapping, and much more. The camp also includes a float down the Payette River. Idaho's Youth Conservation Camp is sponsored and directed by Idaho Conservation's Officers Association and Idaho Fish and Game. Registration is first come, first serve for the first 45 kids, so you better hurry up. Cost per camper is only $270, which includes food, lodging, and all the equipment they need for the week. To learn more or to register, visit the Idaho Conservation Officer Association's Facebook page or contact your nearest Idaho Fish and Game office.
Next up on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we're visiting with our friend Steve Temple, the owner, Clark Fork Trout. He fishes the Clark Fork in western Montana, and you've got some big news, don't you?
Well, we do. We've bought property in St. Regis, and we're soon to build and open a fly shop there. We're in the state permitting process. We think we're another couple of months in construction. Hopefully, the middle of this summer, we'll have our fly shop open and be ready to shuttle people and provide fly rods and meet them for our trips right there in St. Regis.
Oh, that sounds absolutely fantastic. So, where are people going to find the fly shop in St. Regis?
Well, for those that know where the boat launch ramp is at, as you come out of the boat launch ramp and you hit Highway 135, you'll be looking right in our front door. And we'll have a new 2,000 square foot building there. We'll have lots of equipment and supplies, and just come right out the boat launch ramp and you'll be aimed right at our front door.
All right. So for those of us that are coming, well, we'll say along I-90, how do we get to you?
Take the St. Regis exit, make a left turn and go north and go a half mile, and you'll see our fly shop off on the left side of Highway 135.
Easy enough. So you can have the brand new fly shop. That's exciting enough. But let's talk about the Clark Fork at St. Regis. So many people just keep driving, and they're heading towards the Bitterroot. They're heading towards, the Big Blackfoot. They're heading towards the Madison. They're heading further east. Why should they stop and fish the Clark Fork around St. Regis?
Well, there are a lot of great rivers across Montana. I won't short any of those great rivers, but if you haven't fished the Clark Fork, you deserve an opportunity to see the big fish that come out of there and the serenity that we can provide on the river, because we just don't have any people there fishing the river. And I think the biggest strength of the Clark Fork is you can spend a day on the river and see one or two, maybe other boats. Beyond that, you've got the river to yourself.
Let's talk about the quality of the trout you're going to find there and what species.
Well, we're cutthroats and rainbows. We see the occasional brown trout now that the dam has come out of Missoula. The brown trout are migrating up and down the river, so we're seeing more brown trout caught, but it's cutthroats and rainbows in the Clark Fork, and big hybrids. Our biggest fish end up being the hybrid, the breed between the cutthroat and the rainbow.
So are we talking on average 12 to 14 inches, 14 to 16 inches? What are we looking at here?
Well, you'll see an average fish on the Clark Fork in the 14 to 16 inch class. That's a typical fish we boat and net all day long. We call them trophy fish. A trophy fish in the Clark Fork is 18 to 20 inches. And I reliably see a trophy fish every day. We're on the river. Occasionally, really good fishermen will dig out a couple of big trophy fish, so it's more than one in that case, but that's an 18 to 20 inch class fish, a good fish and a good healthy fish.
Now, I know you advocate fly fishing, that's what most people are doing, but can spinner fishermen get in on the game?
Well, they can. I think I've got 3 guides of myself. As guides, we take that on as a challenge, and we like to think that we can convert spin fishermen to a fly fisherman during the day, and so we'll take that on as a personal challenge, and about 50% of the time we're able to switch them over.
So let's go ahead and recap. Number 1, fly shop opening this summer. Number 2, the guide service continues in the Clark Fork River. And number 3, you are offering a shuttle service for people who want to launch their own boats and need a ride back.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll be ready to go in June.
Sounds good. Let's go ahead and give out a website and maybe give a phone number so people can find out more.
Yeah, it's Steve Temple, clarkforktrout.com. Phone number is area code 406-382-0161, and you can get me anytime there or on the website.
That's 406-382-0161 or clarkforktrout.com. That's clarkforktrout.com. Go ahead and check out their new fly shop in St. Regis this summer. Go ahead and book a trip on the Clark Fork for cutthroat and rainbow trout, or bring your own raft and head on down and get a shuttle back. Any way you do it, you're going to have fun. Steve, thanks for telling us all about this on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Great. We'll see you soon.
Quality and affordable fishing adventure is waiting for you off Vancouver Island with Chad's Coast-Wide Sports Fishing. Located in Port Hardy, British Columbia, you can drive or fly to your all-inclusive guided fishing vacation. Whether you're after big salmon, heart-fighting halibut, or a cooler full of red snapper and lingcod, you can catch it all here. Better yet, your lodging, meals, and fish processing are all taken care of. Want one more reason to go? The price. With the Canadian dollar exchange rate where it is right now, your U.S. dollar goes further. Space is limited, so go to coastwidesportsfishing.com to book your trip. That's coastwidesportsfishing.com for an incredible BC fishing adventure.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your hiking boots and camera and capture the beauty and grandeur of Northeast Oregon's Wallowa County. Experience nature like never before when you saddle up and ride into the Eagle Cap Wilderness, hike the trails of the Wallowas, hear the wind rush through the bunch grass and view the wildlife of the Zumwalt Prairie, or ride the churning waters of the wild and scenic Wallowa, Snake, and Grand Ronde rivers. This summer, take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
Leupold Gold Ring Optics are built to perform at the highest level, shot after shot, year after year. Our rifle scopes, binoculars, spotting scopes, rangefinders, and more always come through when you need them most. That's why our American-built products have a lifetime guarantee. Or as we like to say here at Leupold, they are guaranteed for a lifetime of performance, not a lifetime of replacement. Find out more about our top quality gear and our lifetime guarantee at Leupold.com. Leupold, America's optics authority.
It doesn't matter what sort of adventure you're after. Whether it's big game deep in the backcountry, a day of fishing out on the water, or an overnight in the great outdoors. At Sportsman's Warehouse, we've got the gear in here for what you need out there. Gear up for your next adventure at one of the Sportsman's Warehouse stores or shop online. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter.
One more time this week for Northwestern Outdoors Radio with John Cruz.
We've got a whole bunch of upcoming events to tell you about taking place at a Sportsman's Warehouse store near you. The first one for you Friday and Saturday listeners is a chicken wing fry. It's taking place at the Lewiston Sportsman's Warehouse store Saturday, April 16th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. If you ever wanted to learn how to make simple, delicious, and easy chicken wings, this is the place to go. They'll demonstrate exactly how to do that with a variety of breadings and sauces. And guess what? You'll get to try some when they're done too. On Sunday, April 17th from 1 to 2 p.m. at the Sportsman's Warehouse store in Helena, there's going to be a Guide to Basic Fishing Rig seminar. It's a great opportunity to learn several basic riggings to make your next outing a little more successful on the water. Next Saturday, the 23rd, you don't want to miss the arrow fletching seminar at the Wenatchee Sportsman's Warehouse store. You can join archery experts as they explain and demonstrate the do-it-yourself side of fletching your own arrows from 2 to 3 p.m. This seminar is a great way to chat with their experts and learn how to maintain some of your personal archery equipment. Attendance is free. Registration's not required. Again, it's taking place at the East Wenatchee Valley Mall Sportsman's Warehouse store. Also, on Saturday, April 23rd from 2 to 3 p.m., it's waterproofing at the Hillsborough store. Head to the footwear department, learn the basics on how to waterproof your boots. A lot of people don't know how to do it. There is a proper way to apply the products. There's also a right product for the different seasons. Feel free to bring in your own boots, see what you need, and then purchase the right waterproofing product for what you have. This seminar is also free. And now, it's time for your Sportsman's Warehouse Trivia Question of the Week. We told you about the first annual Dorado Fishing Tournament taking place at the Villa del Palmar Resort in Laredo, Mexico earlier in the show. Now, you heard that Dorado, also known as dolphin fish or mahi-mahi, can get up to 50 pounds there. But do you know what they call a male Dorado? Well, if you do, contact us on our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio. Simply like our page, go to the post where you'll find this question and give us your answer. Another way to do it is through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. Go to the Contact Us page and let us know, what do you call a male Dorado? I'll give you a hint. It's not a buck. The website again, northwesternoutdoors.com, and the Facebook page is found when you search for Northwestern Outdoors Radio. While you're on the web, be sure to tune in to WRVO Radio. You'll find it at RenoViolaOutdoors.com. It's an internet radio station dedicated to outdoors programming of all types here in North America. 7 days a week, we are part of the lineup that includes over 30 other shows. Tune in. I think you'll enjoy it as much as I do. I'm a regular listener, and you will be too. The website again, RenoViolaOutdoors.com. That's all for this week. Between Dorado fishing in the Sea of Cortez and salmon fishing off Vancouver Island, there are some serious travel options available for anglers this June. But there's plenty to do right now as well. So until next time, take care, God bless, and make it a point to spend some time outdoors.